Hey everyone, welcome back to TBM Sports. Thank you for tuning in and giving me a couple minutes of your time as we break down one of the most exciting games, potentially even in the history of the NFL. Okay, this is where we have the Minnesota Vikings squaring off at Ford Field with the Detroit Lions. Minnesota laying 3 points. Minnesota getting 3 points on the road. We have seen this number creep up a little bit from 2.5. Total set at 56.5. So, what better way to end the regular season? On a high note as we get with the Minnesota Vikings and Lions playing for the 1 or the 5 seed in the NFC. So this is going to be one for the record books, potentially a lot of yards. If you can't find a bet on a prop in this game, we got to have a whole nother discussion because if you don't like the Vikings, you don't like the Lions with the 3, you're going to have to really struggle not to be able to find a bet in terms of props. So we're going to get down into it. This is a dedicated video just towards this game. That's all we're going to be talking about is the Lions and the Vikings. Total set at 56.5. All right, so we're going to talk about all that right now in this video. If you're new to the channel, all right, I get to see the numbers. I know you guys see the button down there. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, all right? It's totally free to do so. Hit that like button. All that means is it's going to let YouTube let you know when I'm talking bets, and it's something that does help out the channel. So these picks are completely free. I appreciate you guys all tuning in, and if you can, just make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and feel free to leave me a comment what you guys are betting. Also, I do have a free Discord available that we're building. A great community over there, and if you want to become a channel member, $9.99 a month. Check it out. Links down below. That does give you exclusive access to me a little bit on the back end. So let's get into it. We are going to use Outlier to do so. One of my favorite tools out there to get my bets in. This game will be an 8:20 kickoff, so we get a lot of action. Kind of going to leave us with a cherry on top, a finale, if you will, within the Vikings and Lions. I talked about it a little bit earlier, and this number has now hit 3 in some spots for Minnesota, +3. So if you like the dog, you can get a full field goal on the road. 56.5 is that total. Okay, if we look at the betting splits, not really too much in any way or another that's going to deter me. If anything, guys, it's a little bit more so weighted on the Minnesota money line, which usually is the case for the dogs at that plus money value. And quite frankly, that's kind of where I'm at. If I'm going to bet the side total spread in this game, the Detroit Lions, their defense and kind of what we saw last week with San Francisco, yeah, they can score some points. I'm not going to contest that. But they're kind of tattered, right? They're banged up, roster's thin, and it's going to be so important because this is the implications of this game. Detroit has to win this game. They have more of a reason to win this game due to the fact that they kind of struggle out there, not on a fast track, not in an enclosed environment, away from their home field. The numbers are completely different, okay? So it's very important. If they win this game, go 15-2, they secure that 1 seed, then all of a sudden they do get the tiebreakers within home field advantage and all that good stuff. And, you know, it's a complete edge for the NFC tournament. That bracket is completely different if you basically have to play a wild card game or you get the 1 seed throughout. So keep that in mind. This is a very, very high implication game. It's going to be almost like a Super Bowl before the Super Bowl. If we're going to get a taste of playoff football, it starts tonight, okay? So let's get into the game. I do want to talk a little bit about what the Minnesota Vikings did as well. The ownership, I should say, I believe bought $2 million in tickets. So really trying to bring that home field advantage from Minneapolis into Detroit. You know, God forbid this game would be played outdoors. This would be a very, very cold weather game. But luckily, Ford Field's going to provide a great environment, raucous crowd, and let's get into some of these player props. Like I told you guys on the side, for me, it's Minnesota or nothing. I know there's some sharp action towards the under. Maybe we get a little bit of tight play. I think it's all systems go. I think we get fireworks. I don't see any way that we don't just go back and forth scoring in this game, other than Minnesota looks to establish a run game. Detroit may do so as well. Maybe these teams don't want to get it out of the hand, and they want to kind of play possession by possession, field position, all that good stuff. But when you have weapons such as Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, great tight ends, Aaron Jones, and the likes of a really kind of vaulted defense, in my opinion, more so than Detroit's, I think that Minnesota has the clear-cut edge. The only discrepancy, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and this is the two unknowns, right? Dan Campbell's kind of, erraticness, I should say, versus Sam Darnold being Sam Darnold. Okay, that's the two outliers. That is the X factors for me in this game. We know where the star power is. We know where the receivers are plentiful within Amon-Ra St. Brown and the likes of Justin Jefferson. We're going to get into some of those props, but I think the X factors for me is, will Sam Darnold throw a dud, or will he throw for 400-plus yards? And that's kind of the polar opposites and yin-yang, whatever you want to call it, but that's kind of where we're at. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about some of the insights. We can kind of check them out the window within kind of these team insights. The over has hit in 11 of the last 12 Lions games against top 10 defenses. That's kind of where we look into the fact that I do like the over. A great prop that I do like, Sam Laporta over 18.5 longest reception. That's minus 125, sitting there at a 77% hit rate in the last 10. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's on a 3-game touchdown streak. He's hit 11 of his last 14. That's a great number. Lions, 10 out of the last 12 in terms of the money line at home. So it's going to be something very interesting. For me, it's Vikings or nothing. More so, I'm going to be heavily involved in the props, and that's what we're going to get down into. I want to bring this up for you guys right now, so buckle up. We're going to go over a lot of stuff right now in this video. Okay, so first, we are going to touch about touchdowns. Okay, so this is kind of, we're looking in touchdown scores. Jordan Addison, I like that, plus 140. We can talk about the likes of touchdown parlays. You can put them all together. Jahmyr Gibbs, minus 270, no value really at that number. But if you do like the Lions, it's a good way to get plus money on your bet, even more so. Taking Jahmyr Gibbs, minus 270 touchdown score with that money line. You can get fancy and kind of make some correlated numbers. I do like that. Jameson Williams has been really streaky. Plus 137 sitting there. He's had a touchdown in his last 3 games in a row. His numbers have been absolutely fantastic. Really starting to form that connection with Jared Goff. Really excited to see him kind of develop. Also, I do like, obviously, JJ, minus 115. It's not too steep. The touchdowns have not really been there. You look at it right now, I know he's caught it, if you want to break it down, in 60% of his last 5 games, but that's double dipping, 2, 1, and 2. But there's been a lot of goose eggs in terms of JJ's touchdown production. Addison's been the direct benefactor of that. If you want to look at this real quickly, I'll show you guys what I mean. That's where we can see Jordan Addison scoring in 60% of his last 10. Very much some value there at plus 140. Definitely more value than taking Justin Jefferson, but I do think JJ finds his way in the end zone. Big-time players make big-time plays, and the stage is definitely set for that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, this is a number I like at minus 110 as well. He went on a 3-game skid, but in this game, I really don't see an avenue that he does not find the end zone. So you can do parlays till you're blue in the face within touchdown scores. If we do get 60 points, you can do the math on that roughly. That's going to be more at least 8 touchdowns in my opinion. So anytime touchdown parlays are live, if you're going to get 8 touchdowns in this game, it's really hard not to find a way that we do get that. Now, the one guy that I do want to share with you guys, and this is something that is potentially under the radar, is Tim Patrick, okay? If you guys want a value play in the touchdown market, Tim Patrick plus 340 would be my best bet anytime touchdown scorer. Plus 340, you can even find plus 471. Okay, and that one is there at Underdog. So if you guys use Underdog, plus 471, that's hard not to sprinkle on Tim Patrick. But FanDuel, best number available at plus 340. That is a bet that I really do like, and I would be favoring in terms of a value play. Okay, but now let's get into some of the non-touchdown props that I do like quite a bit. This is going to be in terms of passing. Look at Sam Darnold in terms of his numbers, 274.5. I do like Sam Darnold to go over his passing, and this is kind of why I want to talk about it, because if we look at the last matchup, okay, this is where Detroit, in their last few games, they've given up basically 400 yards through the air. But if we want to talk about it a little bit more so, instead of taking the Sam Darnold over 288.5 at minus 110 at Bet365, let's look at it in terms of this, okay? All right, so this is where we're going to go into the pass and rush yards category. Now, pass and rush yards is an interesting prop. You can find this right now. Kind of got bet up a little bit, okay? But I still do like it a little bit more so than his yardage straight up, because he does have the propensity to break off some scampers. Kneels may come into the equation. Sacks don't count in pros. But if you want to just find a nice leg for a parlay, I do think he gets 300 passing yards. But right now you can find minus 152 over 299. It just kind of gives you a backdoor if he does break off, say, a 30, 40-yard run. And, you don't have to take the passing yards at 300. So if he does throw for 270 and he has 30 yards rushing, you do kind of have a backdoor. That's an angle that I would kind of put up, especially in a shootout where, if it is expected to be the scoring that I do expect, it's going to be something where all hands on deck. You're going to see some runs. You're going to see a bunch of everything. So I do see Sam Darnold lighting it up. I don't see an avenue where he doesn't have 300 yards other than he throws 2 picks and they keep it more on the ground. Okay. That's kind of where I'm at. I do like Tim Patrick, like I said, to score a touchdown. I also like him, quite frankly, to score or to go over his receiving prop. You can find that right now around 20, 21. I think there's some value on that. But some of the big boys we're going to talk about, okay? Justin Jefferson, we're going to look into the receiving, not yardage, okay? I do like Justin Jefferson in terms of receptions. Right now, you can find it right here, over 6.5. Cashing at a 70% rate. Justin Jefferson over 6.5 would be my best bet in terms of JJ. He's hit this in 5 of his last 5. It's right there on the money, but I still think it cashes. So going JJ over 6.5 receptions. Also, I do see an avenue where this is a Amon-Ra St. Brown game where we do get a 10-plus reception performance. So if you want to ladder this, I do see a ladder opportunity with him. Taking him basically over up to 10.5, I would be comfortable doing so. If you want to get ballsy, take Amon-Ra St. Brown over 11.5 receptions at plus 950. That would be like a 10% unit play. Put a 0.1 unit on that at plus 950. That's probably my biggest long shot of the day that I might entertain. Other than that, I do see an avenue to ladder Amon-Ra St. Brown receptions. They're going to need him to play big, and you're going to go to your best player in a big-time spot. So I do like Amon-Ra St. Brown laddering his receptions, okay? Jahmyr Gibbs, that's one where we could talk about his receiving as well. Rushing, receiving, if you want to get into that narrative. I do think he gets into that. Also, that's something where you could add that to your parlays, but I do think that Jahmyr Gibbs, rushing, receiving, that's going to be a cash, 100%. It's going to be bet crazy to one of more chalkier plays, but I do like that one quite a bit. And then the one that does kind of maybe glare, I play this one quite a bit, and if you guys watch my content, you watch my picks, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and this will be the Jameson Williams' longest reception, okay, 24.5. He cashes it 50% of the time. All it takes is one home run. I do like this quite a bit. Over 24.5 minus 110. That will be a best bet, okay, for me as well. Now, I do want to share with you guys kind of one last play. We talked a little Justin Jefferson, but Jordan Addison, all right, this is something where I do think this is the most value on the card. It's going to be his receiving yards, okay? Jordan Addison, receiving yards, that's going to be the number one for me. If we look at it right now, 59.5 at minus 150, that's kind of where I'm at. But if you want to take 66.5 at minus 113, that one's right there as well. I think he gets this one done. Last week got 69. When he goes off, okay? And we saw this kind of back. If we want to look into the last performance against Detroit, okay, this goes back to January 7th. He had 57. On October, he had 66. So we're going to couple that playoff game from last year as well as the October performance where he had 66. And right now at 66.5, I do think he's having a little bit more production this season. So I think that Jordan Addison goes over 66.5 in this contest. Despite not really having all of the numbers to back it up, this is more of a gut play for me. If Darnold's going to go rampant against the Minnesota Vikings and get 300 plus yards, I do see Jordan Addison being one of the direct benefactors of that, going over his receiving yards. Okay, you can talk about the touchdown market in terms of passing. Okay, and I kind of like them both. Okay, so I like them both. Sam Darnold over 1.5. It's kind of blown out of the equation. That's at minus 220. If you want to get a little bit more risky, it's hit out of 3 of the last 5, taking plus 170 over 2.5. Also, you might parlay that. You might just add it, taking Jared Goff passing touchdowns. Take that over 2.5 as well. So maybe a half unit. Maybe and you will end up being profitable by taking and just hitting on one of those propositions. So primetime spots quite a bit. Me personally, I would take that 6 points in my favor, and I would put that on the Minnesota Vikings. Potentially even laying a big one here, taking Minnesota plus 7. The Falcons and the Commanders. So there's some obvious teaser legs that you can combine if you do want to take Minnesota up, if you want to take the over. So there's a action. We have college football playoffs this week. Appreciate you guys all watching. Thanks for tuning along. I know there's a lot of content today, a lot of longer videos, but this is a very in-depth analysis to what I like for the Sunday slate. If you haven't watched my full video for the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games, that one is out as well. Make sure you check that out before these games kick off. Appreciate you guys all being part of the channel. Make sure you subscribe right down below. Smash that like button, and good luck with all your tickets. We'll see you guys all in the next video. Cheers.